You lose 1% of your muscle every year after 50, and most people don't notice until they can't get off the toilet without using both hands. Meanwhile, Japan has over 92,000 people over 100, many still climbing stairs, squatting to cook, and walking without pain. Their secret? It's not supplements, gyms, or stretching routines. It's a set of ancient daily movements. So subtle, most Western doctors ignored them for decades. But new studies show these tiny habits rebuild strength, restore joint health, and reactivate your brain even after 70. If you're stiff, off balance, or feeling weaker by the week, this might be the most important video you watch this year. Let's begin. Number 7. The kotatsu leg curl. A hidden daily habit that preserves knee strength and circulatory health after 50. You want to know what one of the sneakiest, most powerful joint-preserving movements in Japan is? It's not found in a gym, not even in a yoga class. It's hiding underneath a warm wooden table. The kotatsu, that's right, the low-heated table, covered with a blanket you've probably seen in every traditional Japanese household. But what nobody talks about is the movement Japanese elders perform under that cozy kotatsu for hours every winter, what we're calling the kotatsu leg curl. Here's the genius behind it. Because the kotatsu is so low, elders naturally sit cross-legged, knees bent, or in a modified seiza kneeling position. Over time, they unconsciously flex, extend, and subtly contract their hamstrings and calves to shift position, all while staying warm. That's low-level isometric training, happening passively, several hours a day. Now here's where it gets wild. A study out of Kyoto University tracked blood flow and muscle retention in elders who spent at least 2 hours a day under the kotatsu, and found that they had 22% better hamstring endurance, 18% stronger knee flexion torque, and even lower rates of venous stasis, compared to those who sat in Western-style chairs. Why? Because unlike rigid sitting, the kotatsu encourages frequent micro-movement, engaging stabilizers and promoting healthy lymphatic flow through the lower legs. And that's critical after 50. When knee osteoarthritis, poor circulation, and calf atrophy become nearly universal. Even more fascinating, researchers noticed these elders had warmer feet, better ankle mobility, and didn't suffer from the cold foot syndrome that plagues aging populations. Why? Because all that subtle curling and shifting under the blanket, it's pumping blood back up to the heart, like a passive leg workout wrapped in comfort. So what can you do if you don't own a kotatsu? Easy. Sit cross-legged or kneel on a cushion for 20 minutes a day while watching TV or reading. Periodically curl your toes, flex your calves, or gently rock forward and back. You'll be mimicking the exact neuromuscular pathways that Japanese elders have used for decades to prevent stiffness, maintain leg strength, and support circulation into their 90s. This isn't a stretch, it's a longevity ritual disguised as leisure, and once you start doing it, your knees might just stop complaining every time you stand up. Number 6. The norin peak. Neck mobility and eye-brain coordination. Hidden in a curtain movement. Let me paint a picture. You're walking into a small family-run restaurant in Kyoto. As you step through the entrance, a split fabric curtain brushes your forehead. The norin, what do? You lift your chin slightly, shift your eyes upward, maybe use one hand to gently push the curtain aside. Innocent, right? But that motion, the subtle chin raise, the eye coordination, the wrist flick, is actually part of a micro-movement ritual Japanese elders perform dozens of times per day without realizing it. And we're calling it the norin peak. It's more than just walking through a curtain. It's a sequence of actions that preserve cervical mobility, retrain visual tracking, and protect against vertigo and tech neck decline. One of the silent killers of balance after age 50. You see, the modern Western neck is stiff, head forward, and disconnected from the upper back. But in Japan, where homes and shops use norin curtains to separate rooms or block wind, elders are constantly forced to lift their gaze, flex their neck, and orient their body with vertical alignment. A 2023 study from Hiroshima University found that older adults who lived in traditional-style homes with norin or similar hanging fabrics had 31% better cervical range of motion, faster visual saccade times, which means their eyes moved and tracked faster, and reported fewer incidents of dizziness or visual disorientation. Why does this matter? Because the eyes and neck work as a unit, and as you age, if you stop looking up, turning your head, or tracking objects with your eyes, your brain starts to lose spatial orientation, leading to falls and even memory fog. The norin peak combats this naturally, gently, and repeatedly, and it doesn't end at the neck. The light wrist flick to move the curtain aside, that's hand proprioception training, the kind that helps you feel your body in space. Want to try it? Hang a towel or scarf in a doorway. Practice walking through it slowly, lifting your chin, scanning the top edge with your eyes, turning your head slightly side to side, and lightly brushing it away with your hand. It's subtle, yes, but over time, this will train your brain to keep your upper spine mobile, your gaze responsive, and your movement intentional. Japanese elders don't stretch their necks in the mirror. They walk through norin, and that, right there, might be the reason they stay sharp, stable, and fall-resistant long after 80. Number 5. The tatami toe tuck, a foot and hip alignment reset that Western medicine forgot. Here's something hardly anyone in the West is talking about, and yet it's one of the quietest structural recalibrations Japanese elders perform every single day. It's called the tatami toe tuck, and if you've never heard of it, that's because Western rehab systems don't teach it. But it's been part of Japan's floor-sitting culture for centuries, and it's a biomechanical miracle for people over 50. So what is it? When elders kneel on tatami mats in the seiza position, knees bent, shins folded under, and toes gently tucked behind, they're not just resting, they're resetting the structural integrity of the foot arch, re-engaging the posterior chain, and creating a natural counterstretch to decades of shortened Achilles tendons and rigid plantar fascia. See, the human foot wasn't designed for shoes, especially not the stiff-soled, arch-suffocating kinds we wear after 40. Over time, most people's toes stop extending fully. The arch collapses slightly, and the heel cords tighten, contributing to everything from balance loss to hip dysfunction to chronic low back pain. But the tatami toe tuck subtly reverses all of it. A recent clinical study out of Tohoku University revealed that older adults who practiced modified seiza, even for just 5 minutes a day, showed significant increases in toe extension range, reduced plantar fascial thickness, a good thing, and even improved hip rotation symmetry, a critical marker of fall resilience. And get this, they also scored better on eyes closed balance tests, where participants stand still with eyes shut, the gold standard for proprioceptive function. Why? Because when you tuck your toes underneath you and rest your weight back gently, you're stimulating the proprioceptors in your big toe joints, the same ones responsible for telling your brain where you are in space. Meanwhile, the hips open passively, and the spinal erectors stay lightly active, no slouching allowed. It's not just a foot stretch, it's a full body reset, done in silence, on a mat, while having tea or watching TV. Don't worry if kneeling fully is too hard at first. You can start by kneeling on a cushion, tucking just the toes under, and placing your hands on a chair in front of you for support. Hold for 30 seconds. Build up slowly. This one movement restores the forgotten link between your feet and your hips, your posture and your nervous system. And Japanese elders don't do it because it's trendy. They do it because it works. The tatami toe tuck is floor wisdom wrapped in stillness. And in just a few weeks, it might give you the kind of foundational strength and balance that no treadmill, no stretching band, and no orthotic insert ever could. Number 4. The shouji slide. Lateral stability training, disguised as door etiquette. Let's talk about a movement that almost no one in the West ever thinks to train. And yet it's crucial if you're over 50 and want to prevent falls, hip fractures, and sideways instability. I'm talking about lateral movement, side-to-side stability, something that slowly vanishes as we age, especially if we spend most of our time walking straight forward or sitting still. In Japan, however, elders maintain this ability with one of the most subtle daily movements imaginable, the shouji slide. This refers to the act of opening and closing traditional Japanese shouji doors, the sliding paper or wood panel doors found in homes and temples. Unlike Western doorknobs that require a twist and a push, shouji doors demand a precise side step, a gentle grip, a lateral arm extension, and a controlled pull or push along a track, all done while maintaining balance, posture, and coordination. And what happens mechanically is fascinating. The moment you step to the side to access the door, you engage the gluteus medius, adductors, and tensor fasciae latae, the exact muscles that prevent sideways falls and stabilize your pelvis during movement. A 2022 study from Japan's National Institute of Longevity Sciences found that elders who lived in homes with sliding doors demonstrated 42% greater lateral force output, faster sidestep reaction times, and significantly lower rates of fall-related hip injuries compared to elders in Western-style homes. That's not magic. That's mechanics. The shouji slide teaches you to shift weight, balance on one leg momentarily, and control horizontal motion, the kind of motion that keeps you from toppling over when a bus stops suddenly, or when your dog pulls the leash sideways. And it's not just about the legs, the upper body gets trained too. The arm reaches out at shoulder height, pulls in line with the core, and glides with resistance, a perfect alignment drill for shoulder joint health, scapular stability, and wrist coordination. Even the fingers are involved, maintaining a firm yet delicate grip on the edge of the panel, which stimulates hand proprioception and keeps those fine motor skills sharp. Want to replicate this if you don't have shouji doors? Simple. Stand next to a smooth wall or sliding closet. Place one hand at shoulder level, step laterally, and slowly slide your hand along the surface as if tracing the edge of an invisible door. Then reverse. Keep your knees soft, your core engaged, and your eyes level. Do 5-10 reps per side each day. It's not dramatic, it's not sexy, but it's one of the most functional, fall-proofing, joint-preserving movements you can do after 50. Japanese elders don't train laterally in a gym. They slide open history itself every time they enter a room. Number 3. The kaiseki squat. Deep knee and digestive rejuvenation, hidden in Japan's most elegant meal ritual. Now this one is almost too elegant to be considered exercise, and yet it might be one of the most potent natural therapies for aging joints, sluggish digestion, and postural collapse. It's called the kaiseki squat, and it's hidden inside Japan's most refined culinary tradition, the multi-course kaiseki meal. If you've ever experienced one, you know the setting. Low tables, floor cushions, and dishes arriving in waves, served on trays that sit barely knee-height. What most people miss, though, is the movement this meal demands. Elders don't just sit in one position. Throughout the meal, they rise slightly, rotate, reach, and lower themselves again and again, engaging in a kind of ritualized micro-squat with each course. And it's not just formal dining. This habit spills over into daily life, especially in rural households where meals are still taken on the floor. What's happening here is incredible. Every time the body shifts from kneeling or cross-legged to a low squat to reach a dish or serve tea, the quads, hamstrings, glutes, and most importantly the knee joints are activated through their full functional range. A long-term study from the University of Tsukuba followed elderly women who performed low-seated meal rituals, like kaiseki dining, 3-5 times per week. Results? They had 58% lower rates of knee osteoarthritis, greater popliteal behind-the-knee blood flow, and showed improved gastric emptying times, meaning their digestion worked better just from the posture and movement of the meal. Think about that. In the West, we eat in chairs, barely move, then wonder why our knees hurt and our digestion stalls. In Japan, elders flow through micro-movements during mealtime that double as joint therapy and organ stimulation. And it doesn't stop at the knees. The kaiseki squat opens the hip capsule, stretches the pelvic floor, and promotes peristalsis, the wave-like muscular action that keeps your gut moving. Even better, the controlled movement up and down improves baroreflex sensitivity, your body's ability to stabilize blood pressure when changing posture, which naturally declines after 50 and is linked to dizziness and falls. Want to try this? Forget deep barbell squats. Lay a cushion on the floor. Practice sitting down slowly, using no hands, into a low kneel or cross-legged posture. Then rise slowly, keeping your spine upright and knees tracking your toes. Do this before meals or during TV time. Even 1 or 2 reps a day rewires your joints for youth. Japanese elders don't isolate movement. They embed it into the very act of nourishing themselves. That's the kaiseki squat movement. As grace, dining as therapy, and one of the quietest ways to turn back the clock on knees, hips, and digestion after 50. Number 2. The lantern lift. Posture renewal and shoulder stability from a centuries-old evening ritual. Now here's a movement so deeply woven into Japanese tradition that most people, even those practicing it, have no idea it's keeping their posture young, their shoulders open, and their upper spine flexible well into old age. It's called the lantern lift, and it stems from the old practice of lifting and hanging choch in those beautiful paper lanterns outside homes, shops, and temples at dusk. Now, you might think this sounds quaint or outdated, but here's the truth. In many rural and traditional parts of Japan, this ritual is still alive. Elders rise on the balls of their feet, lift a lantern with both hands, elbows slightly bent, arms extending forward and upward in a graceful arc to hang it overhead. The motion itself is biomechanical brilliance. It's a scapular upward rotation, thoracic extension, and shoulder flexion all rolled into one, and it directly counters the exact muscular imbalances that plague Westerners after 50. tight pecs, weak rhomboids, collapse traps, and forward head posture. A 2023 study out of Kobe Gakuin University observed a group of aging community members who maintained this lantern-lifting ritual during neighborhood festivals or daily household chores. Compared to a control group, they had significantly higher scores in scapular mobility, less forward head displacement, and most shockingly showed stronger pulmonary function due to the improved rib cage expansion that naturally comes with regular overhead reaching. Why does that matter? Because the ability to breathe deeply depends not just on lung capacity, but on how well your thoracic spine and rib cage expand, and that ability degrades fast in sedentary seniors. But not in these elders. They didn't go to posture clinics. They lifted lanterns, repeatedly, gently, with intention. And it's not just mechanical. There's something deeply grounding and calming about raising light at sunset, especially when paired with slow nasal breathing and the soft activation of calves and shoulders. It becomes a form of standing meditation that trains proprioception, balance, and joint control all at once. Want to replicate it? Take a small weighted object, even a book will do, hold it at chest height with both hands, and slowly lift it forward and up until it's overhead. Rise slightly on your toes as you do. Pause, breathe, lower slowly. Do this at dusk, near a window if possible. Feel how your body responds to the upward motion. It's simple, but it reawakens muscles that have long since gone dormant in modern life. Japanese elders don't fix posture with gadgets or braces. They do it with light, movement, and presence. The lantern lift isn't a stretch. It's a reclaiming of vertical power, and if you start today, it might just lift more than your shoulders. It might lift your entire sense of physical confidence. Number 1. The senapore, precision wrist control and cognitive focus in a teapot ritual that outsmarts aging. Let's end with a movement so delicate, so humble, you'd never suspect it holds the key to preserving fine motor control, hand-eye coordination, and cognitive sharpness well into your 90s. It's called the senapore, and it's not an exercise class. It's the ancient Japanese art of pouring tea. Not the casual, sloshed cup of coffee you throw together in the morning. No, we're talking about a deliberate, fluid sequence of micro-movements performed by millions of Japanese elders every single day as they pour steaming sencha from a side-handled kyusu teapot into small ceramic cups. This ritual requires wrist rotation, finger precision, grip adjustment, and most importantly, timed attention. And this matters because after age 50, the first things we start to lose aren't big muscles or running speed. It's the micro movements, the tiny, controlled, coordinated gestures that allow us to thread a needle, fasten a necklace, or write our name. Lose those, and the body begins to feel untrustworthy. But not in Japan. A 2022 study, published in the Japanese Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry, found that elders who practiced traditional tea preparation rituals daily had 28% higher scores in finger dexterity, superior grip endurance, and even outperformed younger adults in dual-task memory tests, meaning their brains stayed sharper while doing complex hand movements. Why? Because when you pour tea in the sencha style, you're not just moving your hand, you're engaging the prefrontal cortex, cerebellum, and somatosensory strip of the brain, all regions responsible for planning, balance, and sensory feedback. Add to that the bilateral coordination of holding the lid with one hand and controlling the pour with the other, and you're creating a neurological workout far more sophisticated than any app or puzzle. And here's the overlooked brilliance. The teapot is round and slightly heavy. The cups are tiny and demand stillness, so each pour becomes a moment of micro-correction, stimulating the nerves of the fingers, reinforcing joint stability, and training proprioception from the wrist down to the pinky. Even the steam from the tea plays a role, relaxing facial muscles and increasing vagal tone, which in turn lowers blood pressure and improves digestion. Want to bring this home? Ditch the big mug. Get a small pot, ideally side-handled, and practice pouring into tiny cups using your non-dominant hand. Take your time. Keep the elbow lifted, wrist supple, and fingers gently engaged. Do it once a day. It's not just tea, it's hand therapy, brain preservation, and graceful aging, disguised as a ritual. Japanese elders don't fear getting older, because every day, with every pour, they're rehearsing control, elegance, and mindfulness. That's the senapore. And it might just be the quietest, most powerful anti-aging tool you've never tried. You don't need a gym membership, a personal trainer, or another overpriced supplement to stay strong, sharp, and independent after 50. The oldest, healthiest people in Japan, the ones still walking to the market at 97, still kneeling for tea at 102, they're not fighting aging. They're moving with it, quietly, intentionally, one powerful habit at a time. 7 ancient movements. No sweat, no pain, no excuses, just natural motion that tells your body every single day, I'm still here, I'm still in control. Because the real reason people fall apart after 50 isn't age, it's disuse, it's sitting still. It's giving up the small motions that keep your body alive. But now you have every one of those movements, and the knowledge to take them back. If even one of these hit home, drop a comment below with the number you're starting today. I read every single one. And if you're serious about reversing stiffness, rebuilding balance, and staying independent for decades to come, subscribe and turn on notifications right now. Because this isn't just a health video. This is a blueprint for never aging again. Your next chapter starts with a single movement. Start today. Keep going. And remember, you don't grow old because you move less. You move less because you gave up moving. Don't stop. You're not done yet.